Welcome to the pre-pod meeting, the most important meeting in your calendar and the one you should never miss. This is where we talk about all the good stuff. Before I get into the meat of the matter, and this week's episode is great, but first I want to share with you the most exciting thing. I have been a member of the National Association of Residential Property Managers, otherwise known as NARPM now, since 2014. And since then, I've been aware that there's a designation your company can get called the CRMC, and it stands for Certified Residential Management Company. And it's the only designation, certification, or whatever out there that you can get as a single family home manager that shows you're at the top of your game, that you are one of the best companies in this industry doing this work. And in NARPM, an organization of, I think, over 6,000 members right now, it's in the 5 to 7,000 range is my guess. There are only less than 40 current CRMCs. And in fact, the first one in Pennsylvania was crowned just a couple of months ago. My friend Yuri out in Philadelphia with Trust Art Realty, he got the first CRMC in Pennsylvania, but I'm going to be getting the second with One Focus Property Management. And today's so exciting because while this has been something I've been working on now for over 10 years, today was the audit. So there's a lot of getting things together and making your company ready and making sure you meet all the definitions and standards. And then you put together this big application packet and you submit it. And then the auditors have a meeting with you and several meetings, members of your team. And there's like an in-office inspection. And so we did that today. And I am so excited. It means that we should know within a week, but all signs are pointing toward you are listening to and maybe looking at, if you're on YouTube, Pennsylvania's second CRMC company owner. Woo! I know it's not a lot of people can get excited about that. But what you can get excited about is some of the free stuff coming your way from me. The first of which is my legislative tracker. Now, it's just for Pennsylvania. Sorry, folks outside of Pennsylvania. I don't have enough time to be researching all your state stuff. But if you want PM Jen's legislative tracker for the state of Pennsylvania, write me an email, HIWPMJ at onefocuspm.com. Let me know you want it and I'll send it to you. No obligation. This is tracking about the 40 bills that are going through the Pennsylvania House and Senate right now that affect our industry. If you're a rental housing investor or manager, realtor, those sorts of things, you'll be interested in any of these bills that I'm tracking. Very, very interesting stuff if you're trying to keep your eye on what's happening legislatively. I've made it very easy with my tracker. Today's episode is with Rob Lawrence, and I met Rob. He's a realtor in Westchester, but an investment-centered realtor. He runs a team. He does a lot of content, especially around flipping and live-in flips. And I loved talking to him because there has been this tension out there that I've been trying to call out, but he sees it the same way I do. See, I'll explain it this way. If you're on social media and you said, hey, I'm looking to buy a home or looking to sell a home and I'm looking for a realtor, can someone recommend one? The comments on that thread will be voluminous. You will get a lot of suggestions, realtors putting their name in front of you, people suggesting their favorite realtor. But it's different when an investor suggests they're looking to get into a market, they're looking to do things and looking to work with a realtor partner. You will not see the same eagerness. And I've wondered about that. And what we got to talk about with Rob was why realtors really seem to love home buyers, but maybe not investment buyers and sellers. Do they not like working with the tenants? Do they not like the repeat business? Like, what is it? There's a lot of things in my head that seem obvious, but when I talked to Rob, he really put it in a way that I can understand. So I think there's value there. And yeah, I think if you're a real estate investor who wants to learn how to work with realtors as a part of your team, as a part of your strategy, this is a great 45 minutes to spend with me. Next week, I look to bring you an episode all about what if I don't want to die with deeds, right? So exploring how we can take this active real estate money into passive, and maybe that convinces you to stay inactive. Maybe you say, hot dog, I didn't know I could do it, and I'll be moving that over. Again, we're on an every other week cadence right now. Are you getting my newsletter, the Hold It with PM Jen newsletter? There are off-market listings. There are things like my legislative tracker. There are articles of interest and data sometimes that I'm putting out from my company, and I think you should be getting it. Check the description in this podcast for the link to sign up for that.
Razzle dazzle, we're the best.
No, the courts aren't on your side, but they're not on the tenant side either.
Jen, like you are independently wealthy when you are naked.
I am over treating property management the same as real estate sales.
I guess I'll lead the witness. I think it's freaking scammy.
Welcome to Hold It with PM Jen, the show for real estate investors who buy and hold forever and ever. Amen.
Welcome to Hold It with PM Jen, the show for investors who buy and hold forever and ever. Today's guest is Rob Lawrence. He is the head of the Rob Lawrence team with VRA Realty out of Westchester, Pennsylvania. Now, why do you care about that? Well, listen, Rob's kind of a big deal, at least in Westchester. So he's running a team of 4 professionals who have been doing this for years. They've got over 400 transactions. But why I want to talk to Rob is that last year, over 50 of those transactions were with investors. And I am talking to him today about what it takes for the buy and hold investor to build, maintain, and have profitable relationships with our realtor sales partners. So the other things Rob is doing that got my attention and how I first met him is he was part of the My Town Doesn't Deserve Me, So I'm Coming to Your speaking tour that was executed last year, where I went and spoke with his meetup. So he runs a monthly investors meetup, very well attended, very diverse and energetic. Lots of things going on there. If you're listening from Westchester, get in on that. He's investing himself. He's on his 10th project. He's fixing and flipping. He's also buy and holding, but he creates this really incredible content around flipping and sells a course on the live-in flip. This is like the beginner's entry point. I love how realistic it is. And I chose for this episode, I've been wanting to do this episode for a while, but I haven't met somebody with enough expertise, candidness, and vulnerability to be like, yeah, this is how it is. Rob's willing to talk to us. Welcome to the show, Rob.
Jen, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for speaking at the meetup. I'm grateful to be here, and hopefully we can serve the audience today.
Yeah, I really think we will be able to, but in terms of getting to know you a little bit, why do you love real estate? Like, why are you making your whole career about this and your personal activities? What is it?
I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I was like always thinking I needed to invent something or something along those lines. And real estate has just given me a pathway to be an entrepreneur that I just never really knew would be there. And I don't know. It's been very good to me financially. I just have become really interested in it. It's creative. I love do all sorts of different interesting things in the space. And I've got a great community and a great brokerage I'm a part of and mentors and all that stuff. So it's just like, I don't know. It's all consuming of my life, but I love it. It's just like,
Yeah.
It's a great way to build wealth and create financial freedom for people. And that's my mission and passion. So I know very similar to your passion and mission. So we're like two
I
pastors
share
in
it.
the same church. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was just at the Investor conference in Scottsdale earlier this week, and that's a female only, actually, real estate investing event. And it was funny. I meet people like me and you who we love real estate so much. We're so interested and intrigued by it. We're consuming content in our free time. Our personal activities have to do around it. And then there's other people who love real estate for the freedom it buys them. And so we're the weirdos who I think are leading the charge. We're out there caring about this day and night. And then there's other people who are treating it much more like a job. Like, hey, I run the water treatment plant, and
Yeah.
I care about doing my job well. Well, listen,
Sure.
I'm motivated to do this because I make this content. And I told you in the pre-show, people are calling me, right? And they're interested in my market and they want to be here working with PM Jen and my business. And that's so wonderful. I'm so glad people feel that way.
Right.
But I famously don't sell real estate. So it's called One Focus Property Management because I got one focus. It's managing property here in this River Valley. But I need that person. So they're from wherever they are, either local or from out of town. And they're like, I want to get into an asset. And that middle step of acquisition, it's difficult, right? Because and this is my first question to you. Their experience working with real estate agents has been, I need a home. Let's find a buyer agent. Let's start looking at homes, get pre-approved, and go through this one transaction, one process. Versus the investor who's going to look at this as a habit. They're going to make a habit of doing this and they need to build a relationship. When you think about the difference between that home buyer client and the investor client, what are some of the things you want investors to know are different about that relationship with their realtor?
So, you ever see somebody put a Facebook post up and they say, I'm looking for a realtor to buy a house. And you're like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. You know what I mean?
Oh, I
Like, you
know.
shouldn't have done that. Like, oh no, unleash the hounds. And it's like, like they're blah, 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 I'm the best realtor. I'm the best realtor. You should talk to this person. And it's like, there's a
Like a
million
shark attack
realtors.
frenzy.
Yeah. You've just put yourself into the piranha pit or whatever. Right. It's like, um, so like there's so many residential real estate agents that all like really love and know that and they know there's different skill levels of course and all that stuff, but like there's a big group of people that really are good at that. And I think the same thing, like I'm looking to buy an investment property, who will help me? And then you'll get like crickets, like, oh, maybe one guy will answer, or, oh, there's a guy over there that's like kind of weird. He'll do it, like.
And why is that? Do you think the real estate agents think that those are low value commissions, that they're pain in the ass deals? Like, what is the perception that would mean the agents wouldn't be a shark attack on an investor?
Well, I think first thing is to get to the level of competence that you're a good real estate investor agent is difficult. I mean, I think it's almost like maybe a 10-year journey for me before I was really like there. And, I'm maybe 15 years in now.
And I'll just real quick concur. I think you need to make it through a full cycle in real estate to call yourself an expert in any part of it, and especially investment.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be ups and downs. I mean, there's little ups and downs that are happening all the time in the market, and I can feel them because I'm doing 100 deals a year, So it's like I just feel just like you do in your business.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say like from an agent perspective, like 10 investor clients might be worth one residential buyer client. Like from the perspective of like, you're going to have to sift through those 10 and say like, who's the real deal here? Because the motivation for investing is different. It's not like I need a place to live, and if I don't, I'm going to get rained on when it rains. It's like I am choosing to make an investment. I might be scared. I might run out of money. I might just not feel like it. I'm just, if you present me the greatest deal in the whole world, I'll take it, and it's like, okay, yeah, me too. But like, what, but the thing is, like a residential agent, not only not having the experience of just even knowing how to flip a house or knowing, what makes a good rental or, those kinds of things, they also just don't have experience of dealing with this particular client. So they've been very frustrated because their expectations are not matching the reality of what kind of client they're dealing with. It's almost like a different business.
Oh, wow. You're the first person I've talked to from like the service provider end who talks about it being so different. I know and have an instinct about how different it is only because I'm talking to our mutual clients, right? Like trying to help them with this. That is very interesting that you talk about the contingency. And that brings me to my next question. So we all understand that the way the commission system typically works, it is a contingency system, right? So
Right.
there is a percentage assigned to the listing agent, and usually it's split with the buyer agent. And so that is a percentage of the purchase price, and it is paid when the deal closes. And another way to look at that would be a contingency fee, right? Kind of like when you hire an attorney to go sue someone, and they do that with no upfront cost to you, but instead will take their fees from whatever winnings or judgment they get from you. And if there was no judgment, well, then all that work was done for free, right? And that's essentially what you're offering under most pricing systems is, hey, I'm going to do all this work. I'm going to answer every call. I'm going to give you all my creative knowledge and resources. And then at the end, I get a check for having done that. So let's talk about what goes through your head when you get that lead, or as you said, 10 leads that might become one. Like, what are you doing to decide if this person that PMJen referred to you is worth dealing with? Like, how does that evaluation get made?
Yeah. So it's kind of like that attorney, right? Like if he might interview you and say like, I don't think you have a case. Like, I'm not taking this on contingency, right? Like, sorry, like
And
we're going to lose the
what
case.
does that look like for the investor? Does that look like, oh, you don't have enough cheddar, you don't know what you're doing, you're kind of non-committal to this process? Are those like, because he doesn't have a case in our situation, but they're
Right.
still kind of presenting to you
Right.
facts of a case, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a feeling out process, I would say. Like, I'm not going to just discount somebody. And I'm also going to kind of think about them as in some part of the process, right? So maybe the next step is coming to my investor meetup for a couple months. Maybe the next step's watching my YouTube channel for a little while and, getting familiar with that or taking one of my courses or whatever. So, it's really like trying to understand, like, I think sales is about discovery. It's not about making someone do a thing, So it's kind of like, hey, you know, let's sort of discover where you are together. Because you might say one thing and you might mean it, but then when I put the deal in front of you and I go, great deal, pull the trigger, and you don't, man, I'm upset because I should have put somebody else in front of that deal, right? But it's also partly my
Interesting.
fault as a professional because I should know that you're too scared to make that move, or I might, I have another teammate, Zach, whose only job is to help investor agents buy investment properties. It's all he does. And he does really well. He does like 30, 40 deals a year. And he also buys houses himself. He's flipping one right now and he's buying another one. He's under contract on another one. So we are like really dialed in on this. Like, we're bigger pockets
Yeah.
agents, we got the meetup, all that stuff. So anyway, we just have a good sense because we've done it a lot of times. We've helped people succeed. And it's not my goal to take someone and discount them and throw them out and say, oh, right. My goal is to say, well, listen, if you want to be successful in the past, this is how I've been successful. If you just tell me, hey, Rob, find me a deal and, I'll take it, like, okay, well, like, where do you want to be? How much money do you have? Like, let's get
Right.
a plan together. And by the way, like, are we in a mutual relationship or am I one of many that
Yes.
would just throw you a deal? And it's like, and why am I going to throw you a deal? Right. Like, if you're not committed to me, why am I committed to you? Right.
Yeah.
So that's
Huh.
a big element.
I'm interested because you're one of the things that makes you, like, in my opinion, a good investor realtor referral is this ecosystem you've created, right? You have the meetups, you are bigger pockets agents, you have the YouTube channel, your actions, your content, your business shows me what you're focused on, right?
Right.
Did you do those things to sort of foster all I call them aspiring investors. They're the ones who want this very badly, but
Yeah.
are at a very beginning point of the journey. And I'm kind of revealing my hand. I'm developing all of this to help nurture those people along until they're ready to work with me. Is that what motivated that? The
Well,
meetups, the
I
content?
had I had personal experiences where, like, I tried to do my first deal and I didn't have good guidance and it went badly. And so I really feel for those people and I have a passion for helping them, And so I'm like, okay, like, what can I do to make them successful? I think the live and flip or house hack is always a really good start. And some people don't want to start there. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
you want to skip that step and go straight to flipping? And then, like, they flip and it's really painful, you know? Um, so I really try to step them through a logical process that's going to lead them to success. It's not like, hey, you got to jump this mountain in one jump. It's like, hey, we're going to climb it one step at a time. And here's the first step. And then here's what happens after that step. And here's what happens after that step and that step and that step. So I've helped a lot of newbies. Some of them do one thing and never do anything again, or they get hurt on the first one because they just won't listen to me.
Here is something nobody tells you when you're starting out in real estate investing. Your local bank isn't set up for what you're trying to do. If you're buying rentals, then you need a lender who actually understands rentals. That's why I refer clients to Lending One. They are a DSCR lender, which stands for Debt Service Coverage Ratio. And it means a few really important things for investors. The underwriting is quicker and easier. They don't care about your W-2 income. It's based on the income that the property produces. Their rates are competitive and they offer all the financing flavors you could need. Fixed to flip, fixed to rent, construction, bridge loans, permanent financing. They even have a portfolio program if you've already gotten started. I'm shopping my next deal with them, and several property managers and their clients that I know are using Lending One and are thrilled. And I want you to have the same access to lenders and experts that I have. Click the link in the show notes to get started working with Lending One. By using that affiliate link, they'll know you're working with me, and I may receive a commission that will support the show. Thank you.
So those favorite, you mentioned you have a lot of repeat business, and that makes a lot of sense. Investors, when they have somebody on their team that is helping them actually be successful, they're very loyal, has been my experience. So what makes those favorite investor clients favorites of yours? For the goody two-shoes PM-Jens out there who want to get the best service, what do I have to do to be your favorite client?
Well, like you said, I'm working on a commission, right? So if I bring a deal to someone and they're not, and I've invested time, energy, and they don't pull the trigger, that's a problem. If they're scared, hemming and hawing, creating too many problems, like they're not decisive, I think that's usually a problem. If I think they just don't have the skills or resources to execute, that's also an issue. I want someone who's going to go fast, right? Like a flipper is better than a hold for me, in some ways, but also holds are easier to get than a flip. So,
Okay.
on a flip, I'm looking to get both sides of the transaction, right? I'm looking to get a buy and a sell, and how fast are you flipping this house, and can you flip this house? And I don't want you to get hurt either, right? So I want you to be able to be decisive, make the decision, and get under contract, close, and also just like show some loyalty towards me, in terms of like,
Yeah.
when it comes time to list it, like you're not like whittling me down to nothing, or like something like that. It's just like, yeah,
Okay.
man, you just made $100,000. Like you're worried about 0.5% on this. Like, come on.
Yeah, seeing you as an active partner in this and not as like that you add value to the deal, I think. And the way you're describing it, you do. I want to ask you very plainly,
Hmm.
because I say no to clients for this reason, and I wonder if you would. So when a client brings me a property, a portfolio, and I, through my assessment, go, you're not set up to succeed. And when I present my stabilization plan to get them there, they reject it. They're not interested in what that would take. I won't take them on. What I heard you say is you are looking for clarity, decision making, a bit of swiftness, some loyalty, but you also mentioned the ability to execute. So if you have a client who you've been working with and they want to say do a flip, they have aspirations to do a flip, and this deal is not going to pan out for them based on your experience, will you do it anyway? Will you like make them sign a waiver? How do you work that? Because these investors don't always take our advice.
Yeah. So I always tell them I work for you. You're hiring me to be your consultant and to execute your thing. If you tell me to write an offer on a house, I will advise you one way or the other. And a lot of times I'm going to
Okay.
tell you no. I'm going to say, hey, I don't think that's a good deal, or not at this price, maybe at that price, right? So I'm always just kind of trying to be like, hey, if you're my brother, my cousin, my mother, and you're buying that deal, like I'm going to treat you that way, right? I care about you.
Okay.
I want you to be successful because my reputation's on the line as well, right? Like, oh, Rob Lawrence
Sure.
puts people in bad deals. Like, that's going to spread around. That's not good, right? So I
Sure.
want to try to help my person succeed as much as I can. Now,
Yeah.
there's some people that refuse to quit or listen, and they're going to do what they're going to do. But I would say almost 99% of the time they do listen, and I go,
Right.
hey, here's why I wouldn't do this one. And blah, 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 blah. And this issue and that. I mean, I just had one even with a residential buyer last night where I was just like, I'm just not feeling this, guys. And they're like, yeah, not us either, and it's like, okay.
Okay.
And, whether I'm doing residential or doing a residential investment, I'm also just trying to not like be like that pushy salesperson. It's more like I'm your consultant, and like I come in, I try to tell you everything I see wrong with the house, like here's all the issues, here's what I would pay for it, like that kind of stuff. So just having that helps your client relax too, because they're just like, all right, like I'm not having to push back against Rob. I'm on your
Yeah.
team. You've hired me to be on your team. I'm not like here to just get you in a deal and get a commission, right? I
Right.
want you to do 10 deals with me. Right. So
Yeah. And that's really clear. Like, you have to have that outlook, I think, Rob, when you work with investors, because
Right.
you do have an obligation a bit to their success. I mean, they need you not only to do the transaction, but they need access to deals and they need access to your ability to negotiate and advise. And
Right.
so it does, like, unlike the home buyer, right, where they expected they could put a zero entry pool, right, into the backyard. And then, they didn't do the right due diligence. You didn't tell them they could, then they can't. I don't know. I don't pin that on the realtor.
Right.
But an example of, and I'll tell you one that I talked about on LinkedIn that gets me all fired up. So I've been managing this property for like 10 years. It's a 6-unit, class C, C plus, B minus property. It's a rough neighborhood here. I've managed it for 3 different owners. My client, the third client I've managed it for, puts it on the market, and let's say for like a $400,000 price point, and it goes under contract pretty quickly. I hear from one of my Amish clients within like a couple days going, "Hey, I'm going to buy this. I think I want to talk to you about having you manage it." And I knew he wasn't the buyer because I knew the other side of the transaction wasn't this gentleman. And I just said, "Hey, what gives?" He goes, "Oh yeah, I know who's buying it. The person buying it is a real estate broker from like 2 hours away, from our area, and he's flipping it to me." Okay, for $150,000 more. And I know this property to be priced properly
Hmm.
and stable. Could be improved, but not dramatically. It's never going to be a class A property in this
Right.
location. So he asked me, if I hire you, I'm told we can raise these market rents 30% based on this guy's research, and that makes up the $150,000 price point. And I said, "Sir, you know me. Like, you've met me. We've been in a house together. Do I come off like the kind of gal who for the last 10 years would let 30% of the income on the table for both my client and me? And that this thing is traded and you can see the price history over the last 10 years?" I said, "This guy is selling you a bag of crap. And that is so short-sighted, but that guy, that broker from out of town, can do that with no impact on his local clientele," right?
Yeah, I guess that's true. Some people, like, you hang out with them, you want to check to make sure your wallet's still in your pocket. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
they
it's
just don't have
and we
character or
feel
morals.
that as consumers. Next question. Like, in terms of building, like, we all want that tight relationship that it sounds like you have with your clients, right? Where your
Yeah.
clients are like, "Hey, before I do anything, I'm calling Rob. I'm calling Rob. He's always my first call on this stuff." When you have somebody like that who's bringing you business most every year, you're doing transactions with that repeat volume, do you ever alter your pricing to not be just simply transaction based or to do something on a retainer basis? I've been thinking about, is there any, like, have you ever seen that? Do you do it? What do you think?
Um, there's been some situations where I've done that a little bit.
Okay.
Um, like if you're doing 10 deals or something a year with me or something along those lines. Um, there's also other situations where it's like, let's just say we're trying to buy the deal and we need to lower the commission to get this thing through and for it to make sense. Like that might be something we do. Or let's just say a client didn't make out very well on a deal. Like we may discount the commission, right? So I'm always looking for wins, but that also
Yep.
might mean like we might be like taking a hit together if, things aren't going as well. So I kind of look at it from that perspective, like, hey, are we both making money? Like I actually do, sometimes I'll do like a commission where if I get above a certain price, which we're like is like a high target, my commission
Mm,
percentage goes up, right? And I'm
okay.
like
Rewarding you for the extra push.
rewarding me and we're both getting rewarded, right? But like
Yep.
I've also had situations with investors where I'm like, if I don't get this price, I'm gonna get paid like nothing, you know? And I lost that one time. I was pretty pissed off with myself, but I was pretty close to the price, but it was like a little bit off. And then it's like, all right, whatever. I mean, that is what it is, But so I've done all sorts of different things and I'm open minded.
Yeah.
But, I think an investor should always say, like, are we all making money? Like, if we're all making money, like, everything's cool. And if I'm a good agent, I should be making my client money, right?
Yeah.
I think especially, like, if I'm responsible for the acquisition, I think that's like, yeah, I want to make sure I'm getting paid both sides and, like, more as like a little bit of a partner in it on the deal.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I look at it. Like, are we making money? Are we not making money? Like, do we got to do something so we can make money? Like, oh yeah, you're getting hurt here. All right. Like I'll take a hit, cause like, hey, if something didn't work out, and a lot of times it's not actually my fault why it's not working out, but
Yeah.
I'm also just like, all right, like, I don't think that's really fair. Like that I should win, you should lose.
Right. I hear you. And it's a great way to think about it. Here's another big topic I get, and we've talked about this on the pre-show.
Yeah.
Almost every conversation I have with a potential client or whatever is, oh yeah, if you've got a great deal, just send it over. As if I'm just dying to, like, I'm just dripping in great deals that I'm just throwing out to people who literally made a phone call to me and that was it.
Right.
So you can tell by the tone of my voice, I know it takes a little bit more than that, but off-market deals are the holy grail.
Hmm.
Are investor-focused real estate salespeople a source for off-market deals?
Yeah. I mean, I think so. I mean, like,
Okay.
I bring off market deals to clients like a fair bit. It's not that I don't actively market like a wholesaler does. Though
Right.
I'm networked with some wholesalers. Um, and I've actually like do some transactions with wholesalers like, novations and other things I've done. But yeah, so I mean, just occasionally off-market deals going to come off my plate. I'm buying deals also, right? So I'm also networking with agents like, hey, if you got something, let me know. Like
Right.
if there's something good here, like either I could buy it or I've got a client for it. So, tell me
Yeah.
what's going on. And stuff just, I guess just, you know how it is. Like when you grind, like you're just in it all the time. You're hearing stuff all the time. People know, I got a little bit of a reputation as the investor agent of this area. So
Uh-huh.
like other agents will bring me stuff because they know like, oh, Rob probably would do this. Like a client yesterday just said, oh, I think this would be a good live-in flip for somebody, and he sent it to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I agree. I just don't have someone for that right now, but thanks for sending it over. So yeah, I mean, agents can be a good resource, but like, I don't know, just like blanketing a million agents. I hear that can work, right? Like you text like 10,000 agents and maybe two of them are like, oh, yeah, I got this deal. I don't know. Maybe that does work. But from my perspective, I'm like super annoyed. I'm just like, hey, like I'm
Right.
not a commodity here,
Well, then what does it take to get those juicy off-market deals, right? If you're getting them daily, just like I am, and I make the decision, like clients get them, like, well, first I get them, then clients, and then sometimes the newsletter will get it. So sign up for Jen's newsletter for
Sign up
off-market
for that.
leads. But they've been through a couple groups by the time they hit that newsletter. So
Yeah.
how do I get Rob's? Do I have to do 5 deals with you? One deal really well? Like, what does it take? Because it's not just a text.
Well, I think it's one is relationship, right? Just having a great relationship. And again, like, the things we talked about before, what makes a good investor client, right? Just the intention and the ability to execute and all those things, right? Because like, let's just say I got an off market deal and I've got to bring it through. The seller is probably in some kind of bad situation and they don't really, and they're probably embarrassed of the house. Like, it's not like I'm going to do 50 showings, right? So my goal is to take that first best person, the best buyer for that property through, right? So
Yeah.
are you the best buyer that I know for that property? And do I know what you want? Right. So like, will you operate at that price point? Like, is that what you like? Like, so understanding what that person wants is one thing, being in close relationship with them. And then also just my belief that, whether they've done 10 deals, 1 deal, 5 deals, my belief that that deal's a fit for them and that they see that deal and they're going to pull the trigger,
Okay.
because it's hard to get people through those deals and takes time. It's very
Yeah.
manual, you know?
Right. And so this practice that I think is being taught to investors to reach out to all the agents and like get on these lists. I'm hearing from you. I mean, even a broken clock is right twice a day, right? You can do a
Right.
mass email, get a text back, and it might be a great deal.
I'm
But
not
if you're
saying it
looking
doesn't
to,
work.
sorry?
I don't know if it works or not, right? Like I've never done that, right? I just
Yeah.
don't, I'm not a cold caller. Like I'm not a mass marketer. I market myself, but like I want to do business with people that I know, love, and trust, and I just, that's how I operate my sales business and my real estate investing business. And there's different ways to operate. And I'm not saying like their other way is not working, because I'm sure it has worked, or people wouldn't tell you to do it. But it's just not how it works with me. If they want to work with me,
Right.
and I think too, it's like, let's just say you do mass text in a realtor and they say, oh, I got a deal, and then they sell its deal. It's like that guy that was 2 hours out of town. Does he care
Yeah.
about you? Right? He's just trying to offload a deal onto you, and he's going to tell you it's a great deal because he doesn't care. Right? So
Right.
if you want that agent to actually care or give a shit about you, and actually, if this is a good deal, like, then you should have that relationship. Now, maybe if you're really an advanced investor and really know your stuff up and down, that's not as big a deal. You can discern better, and you've got
Right.
that good understanding. And as long as maybe they're not like not disclosing something, or whatever, hiding the foundation's falling down or whatever. But
Okay.
like, I think there's, like, again, the newbie people, they're going to need me more, in a sense, to lean on my expertise and my trust and my contractors and all the things that I bring to the table. So, I guess that's a
Yeah.
good way to look at it. Maybe somebody who's got like a super large amount of experience and really can discern and knows, and they don't really need any of my expertise because they're just so freaking smart.
Right.
But like, but if
Right.
you're just a newbie, blanket, it's like, yeah, I got a great deal for you, man. Yeah, sure, it's great. Yeah, here.
Yeah. It's not the experienced agents, though, or the experienced investors who are calling us and asking us for deals for free. Like, it isn't them. They know,
Right.
they get it, right? It really is
Sure.
those new ones. And that's who I think I'm speaking to.
People ask me all the time, what do I use? What do I have in my desk, my office, my truck? What do I give new property managers on their first day at work? So I built an Amazon store. It's the actual things I use, the books I read that shaped my opinion on this business, and the tools I use every day and tell my clients to buy. If it's one of my best tips or tricks and it's available on Amazon, it's in that storefront. Check it out. The link is in the podcast description. And if you buy something, I will make a small commission. So that supports the show. Thank you.
Let's take that example a step further. So you let's say it's one of your clients, right? And they're listening to
Yeah.
this podcast in a week or two, and they have a great working relationship with you, but they go, wait, hold it with PM Jen. She's a real hoot and a half. Let's get her playbook about her market, right? And now I want to invest in Jen's market. And so I'm going to call Rob and we're going to talk about it. But should Rob be my agent in an out of market transaction? I have a lot of trust. Oh, he's shaking his head no. Tell us why.
I don't think so. There's a couple reasons. One,
Okay.
I would say number one, I don't have expertise in your market, right? So I have a lot of expertise in Montgomery, Delaware County, Chester County, and Newcastle County. Like, I know those areas really well. I know the towns. I just know where stuff trades. Like, you can show me a house, tell me what's, town it's in. I'll be like, ARV is this, like, I just know that stuff up, down, left, right. Your market, I don't know anything, right? Like, I could be sold a bag of goods. I'm as naive as the client, right? So I always look at, it's one thing is trust. Another thing is competence, right? So it's like, when you tell me something, do I think you're lying? Maybe you're telling me the truth, but maybe you have no idea what you're talking about or you're crazy,
Right.
or you don't care or whatever. So, I think you've got to have, like, just being a trustworthy person, I think, does not qualify you to just operate in any market. And then the other thing is just a practical standpoint. Like, if you're finding a deal, like, a lot of times you got to look at a lot of deals, right? Like,
Right.
and we understand that. Like, I may look at 20 deals before I pull the trigger on one, or I might look at 20, make 10 offers, and I get one of them because my offers aren't
Yeah.
overly aggressive, So it's really like thinking about the practicality of that. Like, I cannot drive 2 hours out to your market and, hammer, like, I need to hammer to get something done correctly. So I just think
Right.
my process is very local. My knowledge is very local, but it's highly competitive. So if you're not really on it and like, yeah, I can take that house to set, 800,000 in this neighborhood, and I know I can, right? Then,
Yeah.
you know, it's just like, I don't think you're serving the client personally. Like, and that's really
Yeah.
where I come from.
I agree. And I will say you said it much more eloquently than I could say it, but I see it happen, right? Out of town investor, they're looking at properties up here and they're bringing, usually not from as far as you are, because you're almost 3 hours drive time away from us, but 1 hour drive time away. And it might as well be 100 hours. And in my experience, it is your junior, your hungrier agents who are unwilling to let go of the commission, who figure they can do it, whatever, nothing's stopping them. And so let's take that example one step further. We just warned off this very savvy investor
Sure.
from bringing their out of town agent to their new market. So they're going to find a new agent. And a couple of things we already talked about, I think, are great examples. Like, look for a real estate investor meetup. Who are the agents there? Because not only are they showing their dedication to this business, but they're well known by those people in that room. So now you get a lot of social proof if you put yourself in the room and engage with them. You mentioned your content and course. Hi, really great way to watch and enjoy not only learning from you, but suss out, especially if I'm a good investor. Hey, is he just putting AI slop out there, or is this real lived experience that he's sharing us, real learnings?
Right.
Any insider tips on, like, what are you advising your best clients to do when they go to a new market? How do we find that crackerjack investor agent, and how do we vet them and make sure we're not being taken?
So a couple things. I'll give you first the like quick hack. So um Bigger Pockets has an agent service, and I'm buying a house in Fort Myers Beach right now, and I use their service to give me an investor agent down there. And then when I was down there, I interviewed him and got to know him and stuff. So but Bigger Pockets has an agent service that, and agents that sign up for that are at least signing up to work with investors. And I'm a Bigger Pockets agent here. So if you go into Bigger Pockets and say, I'm looking for an agent in my area, I'm likely to be one of the recommendations that they're going to recommend. So if I'm
Just
going
quick
into a new,
clarification though, you self-select into that. They didn't have to like approve you.
you have to pay money for the leads.
Okay. I
I
got it.
don't,
So
I
it's a
don't know like
financial
how.
commitment and you're identifying yourself as wanting to work with that clientele.
Yeah, I mean, at least the agent that signs up for that service wants those buyers and sellers. They want the investor, buyer, and seller. So at least that's one step of the process. Then I
Gotcha.
think you've got to ask some questions, right? It's like, I was actually asking the AI. I said, like, what percentage of people invest in real estate? It said about 7 to 8% of people buy something outside their primary home. And I said, well, what percentage of real estate agents invest in real estate? And they said 20 to 30%, which I was like, okay, like that's higher than I guess the general population. But okay, if 20% of stockbrokers bought stocks, like that would be kind of weird, right? But that's kind of the business. It's kind of how it is.
Yeah.
So, okay, so right off the bat, you're just scraping those first 80% of agents off, right? They don't have any investments. They don't invest at all. Okay, now you got the 20%. All right, now they invest. Do they invest? Well,
Okay. Well, how do I know, Rob?
yeah. So, I mean, I think you should be maybe listening to them about their projects and, almost interviewing them like, well, show me. I'll tell you, at least I'll tell you what I do when I'm talking to a client is I'll do a Zoom call like this, and I will bring a screen up and I'll say, here's some projects that I've done. Look, here's the buy price. Here's the sell price. Here's the analysis of the project. Here's the before and after photos. Like, this is one of my projects. Okay, hey, let me show you another one. And I show them proof of projects that I've done that are successful.
Right.
And, I can tell, I've been fortunate since my first live and flip, which was not great when I was 26. Since
Yeah.
then, I've been very successful in all the other projects that I've done. And, I try to keep a humble attitude about that. That's, the grace of
Yeah.
God. But like, I would say like, I just see so many investors and they're like, yeah, like I'm investing. And I'm like, you're losing money.
Oh, for sure.
you know?
Oh, yes. There's a lot of and I guess that's why I push so hard on the vetting because I um I have a little saying I say landlords be liars. Landlords be lying. And it's because they put a lot of self-worth and value in the execution of these deals. They think it says something about who they are as people, so admitting they made the wrong move or something is very difficult.
Ego.
That is good advice. I'll add one more. Look up their license on the license service. So here in Pennsylvania, it's PA PALS, PALS. Look up wherever you can verify a state license. Almost all states require I think, do all states require real estate sales? Because not all states do property manager licenses, but I
Yeah,
think we're all licensed by states.
yeah, and I would say, yeah, that the one thing like that brings to mind for me is like when I go on like Zillow, you can look up an agent on Zillow and it'll give you a map of where they're transacting and how many transactions they're doing. Um, I kind of say it's like how many shots do you take from the free throw line? Like who do you want at the
Yeah.
free throw line? The guy takes like one shot a year, or two shots a year,
Yeah.
or the guy is doing 100, right? So
Right.
it's sort of
So we're
like
looking at
looking at the reps.
where the deals are, how frequent, but back to my point, check their license status and look for disciplinary history of both the agent and the broker. We don't
Interesting.
talk enough about that to consumers, that you have the ability and right to check that. And it is 19 days into the new biannual renewal period. So see if your agent forgot to renew their license. We laugh, we joke. I get my hiney on June 1st and just make sure all the property managers that I am interested in are up to date. And every quarter I go in and pull the disciplinary records. That's the kind of freak I am, Rob. I'm
Jen,
in
you're
there.
free.
I get in there. There's not that many. The state is not doing that much, but man, the former friends you see in there and all their shenanigans, and listen, it's tough out there for consumers and we don't talk enough about it.
Yeah,
Um,
interesting point, and
right.
something for people to consider. I think that's a great idea.
Well, and I don't think I think they think if you're out there saying, "Hey, I'm a real estate agent. I'm licensed," that it means that that they are in fact licensed and they don't have a disciplinary record that you need to be concerned about. But it's out there. It's free. By the way, you can look up your nurses, your doctors, your beauticians, anybody. You can have a real heyday. All right.
Yeah.
2 questions to get wrapped up here. If you could get every investor to understand one thing about how this business really works, what would that be?
I think it's just value relationships over
Okay.
everything else. Just keep great relationships. That's one thing that
Because
I will
that's the
try to
key
do.
to the money.
It's a key to the money, and I would say even I think, and as you go to do bigger and bigger things, let's just say you start out small and you keep coming up. Like these giant apartment buildings are built, bought in partnership, right? And people trusting
Yeah.
each other and raising capital and all these other things, right? So I just think like, with my mentor broker, like I have been here at 9 years and like I just have a lot of loyalty and a lot of, respect. And I take my relationships really seriously and my reputation really seriously. So,
Yeah.
when someone's going to invest with me, whether in like the fund I'm doing or, just, you know, whatever. Like if you come to my meetup, like you can see, like as you did come, you can see the relationships that I have with the people there. Right. It's just easy. It's trust. It's just like, yeah, hey, how you doing, man? It's like not a big show. There's not like, oh, I'm going to stab him when he turns around.
Right.
So I just think relationships, understand that that's how real business is done, and big business. I think the bigger you get, the more that even matters.
Yeah. Yeah. And earlier in your investing journey, I think those relationships feel like a faucet of knowledge, right? Like every relationship, I'm getting access to your resources, your knowledge. And that's important in the beginning. And as you said, as you move on and you're trying to do different and bigger or more complex things, those relationships turn more into trusting, co-working, co-investing, whatever. All
Yeah.
right, flip the script here. Turn the big light on the real estate agent. So, hey, you want all real estate agents to understand one thing about working with investors. What is that one thing about this business you want to get across to them?
I would just say don't do something if you're not competent, you know.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
if you really don't know what you're doing, don't do it because you get hurt.
Wouldn't it be great if on all the AI large language models, it knew you were a real estate agent, and when you started putting in questions that displayed your lack of experience or competency, it would go, "Hey, friend, now it's time to maybe not charge people for this because you don't know." I've
Yeah,
wondered that, like, I want some guardrails on this. It happens all the time, Rob. And I get it
yeah.
because once you have trust, my clients have a lot of trust in me in regards to their real estate. And then they come to me with, sometimes it's financial planning. It's a lot of like other real estate questions. And I just am always quick to go like, I charge you for the advice that I am qualified to charge you for. Everything else is just hyperbole and observations, but my goal is to be that fount of knowledge by connecting them, right?
Right.
Like connecting them. And that's what this podcast is all about. I hope to be able to make a link to this and put it in some of my templated emails because so many people are going through this right now.
Right.
Rob, that's a really good point. Let's wrap this up though. Be very clear. If I have listeners that want to talk to you, want to go to your meetup, want to consume your content, where are they going to find more about you and learn more about Rob Lawrence?
RobLawrenceTeam.com is my website. You can find me on Facebook, Rob Lawrence Team, Instagram, Rob Lawrence Realtor. I'm very open-minded and just happy to talk with people. I really have a passion for helping people succeed, and I always love to hear people's journey. And, I'm not saying I'm going to spend 1,000 hours with you if you're not ready, but, you can come to the meetups. Those are free. And, just you're welcome. Anybody's welcome, new, old, whatever. It's all just a community. So yeah, join the community. Get in touch with me. I'm happy to help you. I'm not scary. I'm not mean. I'm going to be nice to you.
Unlike PMJen, folks, PMJen has a harder edge. No, I'm kidding. I feel the
I am
same way.
terrified of you.
And all this edge comes from the confidence, right, that I have with this advice. And I get frustrated. I mean, just speaking very transparently, I love new investors. I love their enthusiasm. I love helping them,
Sure.
but it gets old. Like it can get old, the repetitive conversations, the repetitive myth busting maybe. And I feel like I'm on the edge of a cliff pulling people off of it constantly. Like they're so excited and they're running and they're like dancing on the edge of the cliff. And I'm like, get away from the edge of the cliff. You don't know what you're doing. Right. Like I'm like the lifeguard out here. But that comes so much from being in the property manager spot, Rob. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying you do this, but say you help a client make a big mistake, buy something they shouldn't buy, sell something they shouldn't sell at a price, at a deal, whatever.
Sure.
Well, at the end of the day, you get your commission and you're done. I mean, they made their bed, you helped them do what they wanted to, and you accomplished it. But I worked for little paychecks month after month over time that require this asset to keep performing. So when client has a dumb idea that is going to threaten the performance of that asset, they're threatening my paycheck and usually making my job a whole lot harder. Like they're doing two things. They're like, do it this harder, less successful way and get paid less. And that's, I think, where some of this emotion comes from.
You know what I think? It's like you're one step in the process that's maybe a little bit deeper than the initial. Like, I'm okay with doing this education stuff. It's like I can do it in bulk and I do it. I love doing it. And it's just part of my business and part of just who I am. But like, you're kind of, like you said, you're where the rubber's really meeting the road. I think you're a great resource. Let's just say somebody's, got their money together. They've got their agent together. They've looked at a deal and they're going like, okay, like I'm right about to offer on this thing. Like, hey, Jen, like these rents look right to you, like that's maybe where you can come in and check. And I even like tell my clients, like, look, I'm going to teach you how to understand what a good deal is because you're going to drive me fucking nuts if I have to vet every deal you have ever looked at in your life. And I'm like, I need to teach you what a good deal even is, right? Like, so I just think like, when you got resources like us, it's like use them, but use them wisely because you will use them up if you're not cautious,
Right. And look around at how many other professionals in this space are creating this kind of content, creating community and doing it. And I think it says a lot what you're doing and I highly respect it. And I'm doing the same exact thing. And I hope the consumers see that passion and understand like we are resources, but no, I can't get on the phone with every single aspiring investor who thinks that they should pick my brain, but I can do all of these things. But own dirt in these 5 counties up here in North Central PA, and we'll chat. Guys, thank you for hanging in until the end. Rob's a tremendous resource. Reach out to him if that makes sense. But otherwise, just make use of all this free content. So what we're going to do now, we're going to bow our heads, buy and hold forever and ever. Amen. Till next time.
Thanks, Jen.
You know what's better than building generational wealth? Not a damn thing. And obviously the best way to do that is through buy and hold real estate. But let's be real, managing your properties yourself, that's a one-way ticket to burnout. This is supposed to be an investment, not a burden. At One Focus Property Management, we don't just manage your properties, we make buy and hold real estate actually work. We handle everything: tenant screening, maintenance, rent collection, you name it. All you do is watch your portfolio and net worth grow. We make sure you never even think about quitting real estate investing, because the secret to buy and hold is to hold it for a very long time. And you can't do that when you sell every time you have a problem. We're the biggest, baddest property management team in Lycoming, Clinton, Northumberland, Montour, and Columbia counties. And we do it all to give you more protection, less work, and absolutely no drama. So let's turn your rental properties into wealth-building machines. Learn more at onefocusPM.com. That's onefocusPM.com.